It may only be week 8 of the NFL season, but how important is this weekend's game against the 49ers? A lot bigger than you may think. That's coming up next on Locked On Rams.
You are Locked On Rams, your daily Los Angeles Rams podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Thanks for making Locked On Rams your first listen every single day, free and available wherever you get your podcasts. My name is Travis Rogers. Not only do I host the Locked On Rams pod, but I also host the Rams pregame show, halftime show, and postgame show on their flagship station, ESPN 710. So if you are in and around Los Angeles, you can check that out 2 hours before kickoff. Myself and Kirk Morrison have you covered on that. Plus, right after the game, we'll do the postgame show as well. So for more Rams content, you can do that. Plus, I host the Trav and Slee Show, 10 a to 1 p every day on that very same 710 ESPN. Here's what I'm asking you to do for me. I'm asking you to click that subscribe button on this podcast feed so you get your Rams content in your feed every single day. And we've got a Locked On Rams YouTube channel as well that I would highly recommend that you should check that out. Great way to take in the pod. If you're around the house, flip open the laptop, hit go, and you are off and running. We got a very good one for you today. Want to talk about how the Rams are actually getting a little healthier. This is very good news for them for the second part of their season. They got to play 11 weeks in a row, an early bye week. That's coming up before too long. Sean McVay gives us his initial reaction to Christian McCaffrey going up to San Francisco. They will see McCaffrey for the Rams' second consecutive game. Of course, they saw him in Carolina before the bye, and now they will get him against San Francisco after the bye. But let's start with this. Let's get into this right now. The game this Sunday, the game against the San Francisco 49ers, the team that has absolutely pounded the Rams over the last several seasons. They have not only beaten the Rams, they have physically pushed them up and down the field. The Rams have had a couple of moments where they've been in the game, but more often than not, the game plan has been exactly the same. It was even pretty similar in the NFC Championship game, and then we all know how that one turned. They get very lucky with Jaquiski Tartt dropping an interception. Matthew Stafford gets on fire. Next thing you know, they win the game. They go to the Super Bowl. We know that it has a happy ending. But let's talk about what's happened during the regular season and why this one coming up on Sunday is so important. The Rams still have not put together a solid football game. They've had moments, they've had drives, they've had a half, they've had a quarter, but from the opening kick to 000 on the clock, we have still not seen the Rams play a game that makes you think that they're on track to look like they looked a year ago. We have still not seen that. And in particular, they have not been able to sustain any sort of offensive rhythm against a team all season long. The Niners face the greatest test of that. The Niners are the Rams' kryptonite during the regular season. The Niners are able to get pressure on Matthew Stafford. They're able to do it with a limited number of rushers. They're able to sit on some routes. We've seen pick sixes 2 seasons in a row against the 49ers. And this has been something that the Rams have really struggled with, just the physicality of San Francisco up front. They'll move the ball in the opening drive. They got 3 points earlier this season. And then after that, it just kind of stops. It just kind of can't get anything going, and that's because they can't win up front. They cannot win with the offensive line that they've been running out there so far this year, and it's not just this year. This is something that goes back to even last year when the Rams line was pretty steady and pretty darn good. They were still unable to find a way to win up front. That has to change because, look, the more you see San Francisco do what they do to the Rams, the more other teams are going to try to do it. Now, thankfully, not all the teams have the personnel to be able to try to implement the Shanahan plan, but the teams that can do, and it's highly effective. We've seen it so far this season. We saw it with Buffalo. We've seen it with a team like San Francisco earlier in the year. This is what they do. Pressure with limited amount of guys up front, sit back, make Matthew Stafford throw it into very tight windows in zone coverage, and that's what they struggle with, especially if you can get pressure on him with a limited number of guys coming in. Now, on the other side of the ball, they need to find a way to limit that big play. The Rams against the Niners offensively have been okay with one giant exception. The giant exception being big plays. What happened last time they played earlier this season? They hit Deebo Samuel with one play that went for a touchdown that was kind of a backbreaker. This is not going to be a game that's played in the 30s, I don't think. The Rams haven't been in the 30s really all season long. This is going to be a game that's played in the mid to high teens, maybe the low 20s, and a big play who are there can be the difference in the game. Deebo goes up. They miss an interception by about a fingertip, and he catches it. He breaks a couple of tackles. He goes around the right side. He's in the end zone. Touchdown. Place goes crazy. Everybody's fired up for the Niners, and the Rams are looking at each other like, what the heck just happened? That can't happen again. We saw it with a long running play as well. We've seen it with a trick play with Juwan Jennings a year ago. This is what the Niners do. They don't go on long, sustained drives. They don't put together, 10, 12, 14 play drives more often than not. They hit you with a quick one. They'll punt it back and forth. They'll play a little field position game. They'll kick some field goals, but they're hitting those big plays, those trick plays, those plays where Deebo or Kittle or whoever it might be. Now you got McCaffrey in the mix. Somebody hits a big one along the way, and they're off to the races, and that's it. That's what happens against the Niners in particular. Limit those big plays. Let your team get a little healthier, which we'll talk about coming up in just a little bit. Find a way to control Christian McCaffrey or Deebo or Kittle or whoever the big play guy is, and find a way to get points. Find a way to run the ball on the ground. Find a way to protect Matthew Stafford. All of these things are going to be incredibly important, not just on Sunday, but what it means for the rest of the season. Because look, the Rams are not winning 13 games this year. The Rams are not going to win 12 games. 11 seems like a real stretch. 10, 9, those are the places you have to get to. Now, you can lose this game and still get to your 10 wins. You can lose this game and be 3 to shoot. The whole league is 3-4 seemingly at this point. You saw what the Bears did to the New England Patriots tonight. There is no rhyme or reason to this season. Everybody other than Buffalo and Kansas City feels like a team that can be beat, including the Rams. But you cannot let them push you around again. You cannot let them expose you the way that they have during the regular season for the last several years. You're going to have to find a way to hit back. You're going to have to find a way to slow them down. And you're going to have to find some semblance of offensive line protection that allows Matthew Stafford, even if it doesn't happen against San Francisco, that will happen against Tampa, New Orleans, Green Bay, all of the teams that they have coming up, the Chargers, the Raiders, all of these teams that are waiting for them in the second half of the season, including the Seattle Seahawks twice, who all of a sudden are the leader in the NFC West. So that's what needs to happen on Sunday against the San Francisco 49ers. Speaking of Christian McCaffrey, a member of that San Francisco 49er team, what were Sean McVay's initial thoughts? That's coming up next. Now a word from our sponsor, BetterHelp. If you are like me and like a lot of other people, you get stuck in problem mode, situation mode, as opposed to problem solving mode. And you think about, well, if this happens and this happens and then this is going to happen. And you stop figuring out ways to kind of solve the problem or move through the problem or get beyond it to the other side. This is where therapy can really help you a great deal. Problem solving mode. You get into that and all of a sudden you start to feel a little better. When you learn how to find your own solutions, there is no better feeling than, okay, I got a good help on this. And a therapist can help you become a better problem solver, making it easier to accomplish your goals, no matter how big or small. I've seen it firsthand. There are a lot of people in my life that have gone through therapy and they come out of it the better on the other side, much, much better, more self-confident, better at that problem solving that we're talking about, and just more at ease with themselves, more comfortable with what the world throws at all of us every single day, unloading stress, feeling from some emotional trauma that you've gone through, anxiety, depression, all of these things that we struggle with on a daily basis. So if you're thinking of giving therapy a try, BetterHelp is a great option to do it. It's convenient, it's accessible, it's affordable, and it is entirely online. You can do it right there on your computer. You can get matched with a therapist after filling out a brief survey. And if you would like, you can switch therapists at any time. When you want to be a better problem solver, therapy can help you get there. Visit betterhelp.com/lockedon today to get 10% off of your first month. That's betterhelp.com/lockedon. These days, every new potential hire can feel like a high-stakes wager for your small business, right? If you only have a limited number of employees, who you have in there makes a big difference. And you want to be 100% certain that you have access to the best qualified candidates available. That's why you have to check out LinkedIn Jobs. LinkedIn Jobs helps you find the right people for your team faster and for free, right? It is incredibly easy to create a job post on LinkedIn Jobs. Then you just add your purple hashtag hiring frame to your LinkedIn profile, and you can spread the word that you are hiring. Tools like screening questions make it easy to focus on the candidates with just the right skills and experience so you can quickly prioritize who you'd like to interview and hire. We're getting towards the end of the year. Finish it out strong, find the right person for that job, and go kill it in your business. That's why small businesses rate LinkedIn Jobs #1 in delivering quality candidates, or quality hires, I should say, versus leading competitors. LinkedIn Jobs helps you find the qualified candidates you want to talk to and find them faster. Post your job for free at linkedin.com/lockedonnfl. That's linkedin.com/lockedonnfl to post your job for free. Terms and conditions apply. So the Rams are typically the team that are most active at the trade deadline, right? They're the teams that have gone out and gotten Jalen Ramsey and Odell Beckham Jr. and Von Miller and all the other guys, Dante Fowler. There's a bunch of guys that the Rams have been very aggressive in acquiring at the trade deadline. And so when Christian McCaffrey became available from Carolina, it was not a huge surprise that the Rams were going to at least make a play to see what they could get. And reportedly, it was 4 draft picks, a second, third, I should say 3 draft picks, second, third, and fifth round, plus Cam Akers, who would like to leave Los Angeles in exchange for McCaffrey. The Panthers balked at that. He ultimately ends up in San Francisco for the second, third, fourth, and fifth round picks for the following draft after that. So Sean McVay was asked, what did he think when that first went down? And his response was, oh, blank, they get another great player. But I think he's a phenomenal player. Obviously, we saw him recently. I've always had respect for his game and the versatility. So I think that's your first inclination. Then you know what a great job Kyle and his staff do maximizing and utilizing versatile offensive weapons. So that was my first reaction. Then as a competitor, you say, hey, they've got him. We've got to be able to move forward accordingly. That is perhaps the most Sean McVay thing I've ever heard, which was, really? All right, well, this is what this is what Kyle Shanahan's going to do, and he's a versatile player, and we just saw him, and he's really good, and he goes right back into Sean McVay full, coaching machine mode. I think it's true, though. I think that this is, look, first of all, I love the fact that they didn't get him because eventually the Rams are going to have to draft some people, and to draft some people, you actually need these things called draft picks, so that they're holding back on some of this stuff I like. I don't know how much of a difference maker Christian McCaffrey will be. Now, I could eat these words easily come Sunday night. He could go out there and tear the Rams up, and we'll be sitting there with a little egg on my face and say, okay, I guess I was wrong about that. The Rams have not gotten gashed by them in a systemic way. They've gotten big plays against them like we talked about a couple of minutes ago. McCaffrey can certainly provide some of these big plays. We'll see whether or not he's still the same guy he was when he was at his best in Carolina. He's had some injuries along the way. Running backs age like bananas. They go from not good to great to throw them away pretty quickly. We'll see how much of that banana lifespan he has left. But the Rams are going to have to find a way to deal with him. And this is what they do. I think this is kind of the new reality of this team. I think that they realize that even if they can't find a way to beat San Francisco on Sunday, they need to take that step forward. They need to be the better team than they were through the first 6 games of the season. Because look, fact of the matter is they weren't particularly good. They're probably, go ahead and post this in the comments. Tell me what you think about this question. The Rams lose to good teams and beat the bad ones. They've beaten Arizona, not good. Atlanta, meh. And they've beaten Carolina, legitimately bad. They've lost to San Francisco, who's they're against the Rams. They're terrific. So we'll just go with that. Buffalo, who absolutely smashed them, and the Dallas Cowboys, who had a pretty easy way with them despite using a backup quarterback. Is that good or bad? Is that an indication that success may be coming along the way? Because you're playing a couple of teams that you should probably be able to beat in the second half of the season. You're also playing a couple of teams that maybe don't fill you with the same sort of dread that you might have had at the beginning of the year, namely Green Bay and Tampa. But if you're beating the bad teams, that means that at least you're doing something right. Now, they're going to have to find a way to win some of these games against the better teams, no question about it. But they're going to have to do it against Christian McCaffrey and the Niners for sure. they need to get to Jimmy G. McCaffrey is not the issue. The ball comes out quick. They need to find a way to tackle right away, eliminate those big plays that we talked about, get to Jimmy G on the rare occasions where he does drop back. It would be great to have one of those Aaron Donald games where halfway through the first quarter, you're like, oh my gosh, 99 is here to do work. Watch him put a big hit on McCaffrey, a big hit on Garoppolo, just blow up play after play after play. Niners do a pretty good job against him. For whatever reason, they've been able to find that Aaron Donald whisperer on the offensive line, and they've done a very nice job against him. McCaffrey, we'll see what he brings to the table. He doesn't scare me the way that some other players might. He was a great player a while ago. Haven't seen him be that guy in a while. Like I said, I don't want to upset the football gods. I know that sometimes they hear something like that and say, oh, you think so, huh? Okay, we'll watch this. We'll see it on Sunday afternoon. But McVay's response to it was not, uh-oh, they're going to run all over us. It was, yeah, he's a great player, and okay, they got another guy. Let's get back to work and figure out how to stop it. This is not a how do you stop them offensively. They've done a decent job with that. This is a how do you move the ball against them with your offense. That is something that they have not done a good job with. But there's help coming on the horizon. The Rams are actually getting a little healthier. That's coming up next on Locked On Rams. What are you waiting for? You need to get into PrizePicks. It is so much fun. It is so easy to do. You don't have to compete against a million other people. It's just you against the projections available, and then you make your call, right? Patrick Mahomes, more or less than 120 yards or 320 yards passing. Derrick Henry, more or less than 85. Cooper Kupp, is he going to get in the end zone or not? Tyreek Hill, how many times is he going to catch the ball? You got your predictions. Go to PrizePicks and do it. It is so easy. It is so much fun to do. You don't have to beat a million people, just the projections available. Pick 2 to 5 players, and if they go more or less than their PrizePicks projection, you can win up to 10 times your money on any entry. Like I said, you don't compete against other people. It's just you against those projections available. And no matter what sport you like, they got you covered at PrizePicks. Baseball, football, basketball, college football, college basketball, women's college basketball, soccer, esports. They got you covered is the point. Entries can be made in 90 seconds or less. It is that easy. It is safe. It is fast to withdraw your money. So download the PrizePicks app. Go to prizepicks.com to sign up and play daily fantasy sports. First-time users can receive a 100% instant deposit match up to $100 with the promo code Locked On. And if you deposit $100, PrizePicks will give you $100. If you deposit $50, PrizePicks will give you $50. Don't forget to enter the promo code Locked On and sign up for an instant deposit match of up to $100. Thanks again for making Locked On Rams your first listen every single day. My name is Travis Rogers. Let's talk about that help that is hopefully coming sooner than later for the Rams. Some good news, finally, some good news for the Rams on the injury front, that they're going to get back a couple of very important players this week. And then also on the very near horizon, you may have some more guys coming back as well. Let's start with the guy that I think is the most important returner is Brian Allen. Brian Allen was the starting center on a Super Bowl championship team. Brian Allen was the guy that goes down in week 1 against the Buffalo Bills and has not played since. He will be back against the San Francisco 49ers. Now, you still have a lot of other – Joe Noteboom is gone for the season. You have a backup left guard. You have a backup right guard. You have actually a third-string right guard along the way. And now you got, Alaric Jackson at the far left end. You're down to 2 starters still, but at least with Rob Hamenstein and with Brian Allen back at center, the communication issues that really seemed to have given them all sorts of problems for the last several weeks maybe will calm down a little bit. A familiar voice among them, the guy that's over the ball, the guy that's going to set the protections. This is a big deal for the Rams. It's just one more piece getting back, and the Rams have been getting smashed up front. So this is a very good addition with Brian Allen coming back, something that I think the Rams are going to desperately benefit from in just the nick of time against a team that has handled them up front probably better than anybody else. Van Jefferson, look, when we talk about the Rams offense, it starts with the offensive line, but shortly thereafter, it's questions about, hey, what are we going to do with it on the times that we do have a little bit? Cooper Kupp is doing all the things that Cooper Kupp does. Beyond that, it's been pretty quiet. Tyler Higbee's been pretty quiet. Ben Skoranek has been okay. And like we've talked about ad nauseum, Allen Robinson has been virtually nowhere up until that Carolina game. Hopefully he continues to build on what he did against the Panthers. But Van Jefferson knows the offense, has rapport with Matthew Stafford, knows exactly what it is that he needs to get done. So all of a sudden you have another person that's very, very familiar. Maybe you have a little bit more time. Put those two things together. It's good news for the offense. One more offensive player that will not play against San Francisco, but could be back the following week against Tampa. And I say the phrase could be back. It's a little bit misleading because he's never been. It's Kyren Williams, who's a rookie who had a high ankle sprain very early and has not played at all. And now he's coming off of IR as well. He could be that guy to give you that little spark in the backfield. I know they had their eye on McCaffrey. It didn't get done. Darrell Henderson has been inconsistent at best. Cam Akers is on his way out, probably. Kyren Williams may be the guy. Sean McVay talked very highly about him in camp, so hopefully he can come back and give them a little spark. Maybe not this week against San Francisco, but beyond, that could be very good news. And then on the other side, Troy Hill is expected back. Now, Rams defense has been pretty good. Rams defense, despite the fact that they haven't gotten a lot of pass rush, it's been pretty effective along the way. So adding him can only make that better. That is very good injury news for the Rams. Okay, that's going to do it for this edition of Locked On Rams. Thanks again for making us your first listen. For your next listen, check out Locked On Sports Today, the biggest stories of the day, plus instant reactions, big game recaps, and the take of the day. Available on the Odyssey app, YouTube, and wherever you get your podcast. Until next time, whose house? It's Locked On Rams house.